Alright, it's time to deliver the package in the Chicxulub crater in Mexico.
Clear. Clear.
Clear!
Clear. That's all we're going to say in this part, the word clear.
Unfortunately, we cannot just park it in the landing area. We need to, put it deep near the reactor.
Deep inside.
Blake is gonna basically handle that, while Capelli is gonna basically escort it.
Oh, Blake, please don't die.
X-ray squad, you're with me. We're moving the package to the engineering deck. Yes, sir. Hale, Capelli, I need you to clear a path. They're gonna have cooling shields all around the reactor. Find a control room and get those shields down.
Computer room.
Did you find it?
They're not registering us as a threat.
Wow, they're confident.
Or at the very least, they're not expecting us. Okay, Van Hale, so what am I supposed to do then? Like, I'm pretty sure someone has to... I'm pretty sure this is not a stealth section. Well, that was a boring conversation. Boring conversation anyway, I guess. Like, I don't know what the game was trying to do. Maybe I was supposed to try to sneak around, but it looked relatively impossible to properly do.
I think that's the game, like, setting you up for a surprise. Like, oh, it'll be nice and covert. Oh, nope!
Or maybe, probably considering it may let me spawn with the far eye, maybe I was supposed to snipe them away. Maybe.
Echo, squawk in. I'm hearing gunfire from your direction.
In the meantime,
Okay, the fact that you heard gunfire from our direction suggests that there is supposed to be a fight, unless they have different dialogue for if you manage to clear that through covertly.
Yes, Pedro?
I can't find on the internet any kind of source that tells me who were the voice actors in the Portuguese dub of this, so it seems like the only way I would ever find out is if I just play the game myself.
What about Moby Games? Maybe that can tell you?
No. Moby Game. First off, Moby Games only lists the proper credits of people who made the game. Like, doesn't really list like dubs.
You have to remember, Jova, when it comes to stuff like IMDb, that mostly lists only English and sometimes only Japanese voice actors. When it comes to other foreign ones, it's basically a coin toss, and most of the time it doesn't happen. You have to search for a specialized website. My country has one called Antonio Genna, which is actually dedicated to showcase either having pages specifically dedicated to the voice actors and what they did, or the work in this case, Resistance 2, and which voice actor is associated with which role in the database. Alright, let's follow Capelli then.
I keep thinking you're going to say Scapelli from the live action.
No.
Blake to Echo, we've reached the engineering level. Little resistance so far, but pathways to the reactor are locked down.
It's almost too easy. Also, Hale, I know that he's been kind of an asshole, but please refrain from shooting him.
Look at all the details that the PS3 could render.
Yeah.
Next, you're gonna tell me I can see lightnings enable piercing. That was a genuinely, like, not a selling point, but it was probably boasted in the marketing.
Truly what the PS3 was meant for.
Obviously. It's kind of like, what was the thing that George Wood said about Tomb Raider 3?
You can't cheat.
Create a storyline in which Lara gets breast cancer.
Yeah, that one, yes.
Good lord.
What the hell made him say that?
Whatever the hell made him say everything else that came out of his mouth.
Yeah, I get the idea. He was trying to basically think that, just saying something random just applied to Lara Croft would have been automatically funny.
I mean, it's not as, believe it or not, it's not as bad as when he said, Why pay money to beat someone up when you can do it for free on a real life human being?
Okay. The more dialogue I hear from George Wood, the more I feel like he was a prototype for the kind of reviewer persona that Scott the Woz would perfect. You know, the one who does say nonsense, but it's done in a sarcastic tone where you get what he's saying, at least, you know. But with George Wood, it sounds like either he had not perfected that, or he was legit serious in trying to make those jokes land, and they just did not work.
Of course we have augers. Fuck me.
Isn't Scott the one with that blue border around his face?
Yes.
Yes.
And the one... Wait, okay, I haven't seen that hour-long video he made, but...
About the blue border.
Yeah, I haven't seen that one yet, but I have seen that one where Tadicris basically ruined that whole thing just for a 5-second joke.
By saying he lives in Crash Bandicoot pants, yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, Scott the Woz, I feel, has perfected the style of he'll say some nonsense, but it lines up as a joke.
I really just wish he didn't go in his tirades about how he doesn't get the RPGs, but that's just me. Capelli?
Capelli,
It's Capelli.
I swear, Capelli, if this is like the last time with the freaking Gatling gun
Elevator.
that you left us.
Oh, there you are.
Okay, he's actually
Ellie,
falling.
come here, boy. Come here, boy.
He's his doggy.
Come on, don't flake on us, man. Not like last time. We're never letting you live down the Gatling gun incident.
Negative. We're looking at about 3 feet of solid iron.
That feeling when a guy with a pistol was more brave than the guy with the Gatling gun.
Control room.
Like I said, don't worry if you hear Hegel, heavy breathing. He doesn't have really have a stamina meter or something. He just, it's perfectly good when it comes to the sprint.
For the immersion and all that.
That's gotta be the control room. We're gonna have to get over there.
At least it's not gutted out, because in a couple of games, as I actually was noted by a few reviews, a lot of times the soundbite when it comes to the heavy breathing cuts out regularly, so you get a character that goes, but he basically gets cut in the middle and he feels very disjointed. Which, it's basic sound design, how do you screw that up? And I don't mean, again, in this game, but others that I noticed, I get it, yeah, small budgeted, so maybe there's not super quality control, but it just still feels very odd.
Mm-hmm.
Put more of these to rest. There you go. Of course, again, these being the final level, they throw everything in a kitchen sink, including in most rooms out of the ones that you face, chimeras with auger. Look at this shit. It's a good thing Capelli can take care of himself. Imagine if this was supposed to be an escort mission. Of course the shield works against me too. Oh, hello there.
Just dropping by. Boom, headshot.
Basically, again, it's a blessing the fact that the headshot is still a one-hit kill even on, harder difficulties.
That's nice. I mean, I guess anything to balance stuff out.
Alright, let's clean, let's move on. Also, the music is trying a bit more, but man, it's still so genuinely just ambiental. Go.
Take a good nap, everyone.
In case you're wondering, because you might have this question lingering since the first game, no, the Camilla cannot recycle their own the dead bodies of the fallen ones. So they do have a finite number. It's just a matter that by converting, humanity, they always have their ranks always be ready in some cases.
Echo, there should be a manual override in the conduit hub one deck over from your position. I need you to get over there.
Okay, then.
Go. Can you guide me to the hub from here?
Yes, sir. Hold on 1 second. Okay, you should have elevator access to the other deck now. Better get moving.
Should
All
be
right, so
smooth sailing, right?
for trying to be a bit of a change of pace, we'll actually be the one moving, and Capelli is gonna guide us. Not necessarily be the one that escorts us, but he still tell us where to go. It's not like it's a maze, but immersive wise, it does help.
All well and good.
Damn, where the hell am I? Like a lemonade production facility?
Of course. They spiked the lemonade. That's what they've been turning us with.
Damn you and your lemonade.
They corrupted the lemonade by pissing into it. The urine mixed in perfectly with the color.
There should be a pressure sealed door ahead of you. Gonna have to override it from here. Give me a second.
Okay.
Okay, I think you're clear.
Watch out, however, because there are some chameleons in this area too. So don't go rushing in. Listen to what Capelli has to say,
Far side of the room should be the quickest route to the override.
because he tends to potentially say if there's one up ahead.
That's handy.
Hale, I'm seeing movement behind you.
Nothing to see here. Just
Although he said behind us. I guess those guys were technically coming from behind us, but if he meant directly behind, then...
There you go. Especially because, if I recall correctly, they're basically tracing back. They were trying to trace back to actually reach behind us. So, caught me by surprise.
I only see one foot still moving. I hope that's you, Lieutenant.
Yeah, it's me.
Oh, alright.
The water in there is reading white high. Better keep a good distance.
Oh, that's supposed to be water. Okay.
Huh.
Like, what do... Okay, taking the jokes about lemonade and peace aside, what did they spike it with? Sulfur, I guess? That's a yellow substance, I suppose, but...
It's more yellow than the actual Yellow River. Arr! Down, boy.
Of course, more auger people. Dude, that guy was stuck in the door. Where did they go? Like, why did you fall behind?
Nice work, Lieutenant.
Also, I'm still hearing an owl noise, so there might be another chameleon nearby.
You think by now the community realize, guys, using the sound of an owl isn't fooling him. Maybe we should use something else. Especially since we're literally in our base of operation where owls are not plentiful.
Something's moving dead ahead of you. You see
Yeah? Yeah, I see it. 2 and 3.
3! Another one. Another one.
Are there any more chameleons I should be knowing about?
Hoot hoot!
Of course. There it is.
Echo, this is Blake. They're closing in on us at the blast doors. We're down to our last clip. We need those doors open now.
Working on it.
There, sir. We'll have them open any second. Roger, Echo. We're counting on it.
We're almost at the end, I take it.
Yes, we're actually very close. Again, it's all about managing to detonate the bomb and possibly try to defeat the Daedalus while we're at it if it doesn't work.
So the end is in sight.
Again, the question is, will it be sufficient?
That is a good question.
Resistance 3.
True, but like I said, it could mean anything.
Yeah.
Like I said, the Resistance 3 ends still conclusively, but Insomniac wanted to make a 4th title, so like I said, for all we know, we wanted to do what Gears did and, you know, find a way to bring back the Kamiya in some fashion after this. Go. Oof. Now, for a change of pace, we need to take the tubes where the drones actually were coming from. Just okay, is it? There you go. Whee!
Hang in there. You're getting close. The reactor control hub should be just ahead of you. Blast door override will be inside.
Oh, great! Also, more
Right,
cocoons.
more cocoons.
Control hub. Get those blast doors down and let's
I searched.
Yeah, no, now that I've actually
Go,
looked,
go,
now,
sorry.
now that I'm actually looking better at these cocoons, they actually look a lot more like the cocoons from Plague Tale Requiem rather than these.
I wait to see actually how they look like for that game, but I thought you were going to say the penis Kryptonian stuff from me, Man of Steel. But in the meantime, the Resistance 3 actually has a proper terminology from the Kamiya that burst out of the cocoons. They're technically called the Greys. No, I don't know why.
Wow.
So how did that soldier got here? Alright, let's override.
Manual override is activated.
Roger that, Echo. We have activity. She's opening up. Hell of a job.
Cool.
Shit. Major, you have multiple inbound hostiles. I repeat, heavy inbound force closing on your position.
What
Sir,
else
light
is
the candles
new?
and evac ASAP. We've got contact! Hold them back! Fire! Echo, move to the blast doors! Major, we're inbound to your position. Major, come in.
And here's our first major bullshit bomb. Blake dies off screen.
You know, again, they give us a posse. I'm gonna be honest, I'm feeling like no, actually so far, each member who's died has not really been done the best of justice.
I think Warner was alright for the most part. It's just at the end where they'll decide, let's split up.
Well, heck, even Warner technically gets killed off screen. Okay, admittedly, it's done in a way that does give you impending dread by having his blood literally drip right down onto you, and then he's thrown after being chopped in half, but again, I feel like Warner deserved better. And the other guy, okay, he dies on screen, but we barely got to know him. Like, it feels...
Unless, of course, he reread the novel, Jova.
Goody, yes. Like, it really feels like the character they want us to care most about is Capelli, since, again, aside from Warner, Capelli feels like the one we've gotten to know properly the most, and even still, I'm guessing that's for the characterization of him going from practically hating Hale to respecting Hale in the end, especially if Hale ends up dying, a noble sacrifice. Because I'll admit, unless Hale can find some miracle cure for his condition, it's looking like he might be slated to go out in a blaze of glory.
You have to see, like we said, the end is night.
True, and you know, anything could happen.
Yeah, basically, this means no escape or no way out, Dwebs. It's used if I use the tracker enough times.
Ah, you thought you bigger your big shield. I've got a big shield as well.
Well, it works the same ways from different weapons, basically. Unfortunately, what Capelli said, is also true. The fact that, Blake's squad got killed means that the Chimera now are in control of the bomb, and they basically want to toss it out of an air vent, so we need to catch up. Okay.
That happened.
Oh goody, another Titan, sure, why not?
I can only imagine how people do no-hit runs on this game.
It's borderline impossible. I don't know how can they even do it. I'm sure it might be, with enough dedication, but man, I dread to think how it is.
Yeah. 2 Titans.
Ow.
Usually people who do that are gluttons for punishment.
Well,
True, but
there's a
it's also
trophy
this-
for it.
But no, there is not. There is, if I recall correctly, a trophy that is particularly bullshit because it gets referenced in the making of Resistance 3. Let me check it again just to be sure. It's also potentially the sense of accomplishment, similar to the speedrun community, the idea of challenging oneself. Yeah, there you go. The real bullshit trophy that only 2.18% people got worldwide. Score 10,000 kills in ranked matches in online competitive mode. 10,000. That would mean a lot. A lot of people complained about this, and logically these days it's unobtainable because of these servers being dead.
It's not bad. I'll give it that. It's not like the most amazing thing ever, but it's notable.
Yeah, but that's the thing, not many people, like you said, not many people liked it. And again, one of the throwaway lines during that interview that they mentioned is that one of the Q&A session asked about the trophy, and one of the Insomniac guy had to raise his hand and like, yeah, that's the part where he had to hide under the table, right?
Yeah, I mean, look, I get it. Trophies are trophies. They're technically not something you need, but a BS trophy can still be BS.
Not about balancing, like, bullshit trophies, if the entire game is designed around that, do make enough of a sense. Like, Tri-Ace is particularly notorious for having their trophies, being challenging around the game's condition, but require a lot of dedication to them. But they still are doable, in some capacity. But again, 10,000 kills means that you had to play the multiplayer for a very long while with a lot of dedication.
Oof, that's yeah.
Which, to be fair, and again, from what I heard, the kills on multiplayer was the more technically, used between these franchise and that one. But again, I don't know the details in terms of data.
I will say this, like, I feel like a game should never get to the point where it feels like it's becoming a job. That is, unless you literally do it for a living, in which case, by all means. But I always do have an issue when games will force you to grind or do something this many times.
By the way,
to the point
there
where
you go, there's Blake. There's Blake, dead body. I only realized it, I only noticed it when I was editing the part. I was like, oh wait, that's actually his body right there.
it's like, why not have him die in a blaze of glory alongside
He
us
doesn't
at
even have
least?
one last line.
Like, I mean, all that build-up, the emphasis on him, and we don't even get to be with him in his final moments. That's... I mean, maybe that's their way of showing that war is hell, but I'm not gonna give him that big the benefit
You
of
let
the
to show
doubt.
them apparently.
Like, I'm sorry, you could have easily have at least had him die in an epic fashion on screen.
I mean, technically, oh, what the fuck? Technically speaking, it does give him basically an heroic sacrifice, trying to transport the bomb. But like he said, it mostly happens off screen.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, yeah, it's technically a heroic sacrifice, but again, one strictly off screen, like, and like, you know, at least with, you know, like you mentioned, with
You're all clear.
with Warren,
Warner.
yeah. Like, at least with
Warner and all
Warner,
Warner.
he got a graphic death that was at least good for setting the mood and
Alright,
the terror of the scene.
Time for the final boss.
Oh, right here.
Yeah, Daedalus. This is the chamber of Daedalus. So basically, first phase is actually trying to get to him, mostly at least to the chamber, because you're basically periodically trapped in these places, and now the game wants for you to sit your ass and wait until Daedalus, you know, literally destroys the there you go, the different metal parts, you know, until the game decides it has enough and you can proceed. Like, I get what they were trying to do, but this shit is scripted beyond belief, especially because after he does that awkward grabbing maneuver, he supposedly tries to do that psychedelic attack that tries to screw over your interface, but it does barely nothing.
Boy thinks he's Psycho Mantis.
Yeah, like this.
Oh,
And-
no!
And if you wanna try to shoot him, beat him against, but it really does nothing to him yet. Like, it's one of the cases where you need to wait until you're at the specific area if you wanna damage him.
So basically just move over to this area here or there.
Basically, in these cases, every time you reach this particular checkpoint, you have to wait on your ass.
You know, Daedalus, if you just left us trapped in here, you could arguably win the plot, you know, right?
Okay.
Now I guess we
Can
gotta
I
do it
move
like
now?
this.
Lagoon! Oh, Jesus. Yeah, there is also this, a bunch of telekinetic stuff in between what I'm trying to get there.
And no nukes.
Thankfully, don't worry, it's not like the entire fight is just about him calling mooks. There will be the time where we actually have to, you know, properly shoot him. So like I said, at the very least they try to bust everyone to try to have an actual final boss this time. Then loose, can I just, you know, just pass through?
I
Okay.
guess so. Huh, maybe they screwed with his mind a little too much.
Or maybe they screw with the scripting.
After all they've taken, now hold on, that implies humanity took something from,
The Chimera. It's more like case again, Dr. Monaco theorizes that the pure Chimera were previously part of the Earth, you know, they built the towers and everything, and when the humans arrived, apparently they, you know, they just occupied the territory.
Which is weird because the previous game clearly implied that they came from outer space, not from the Earth. Which I guess
it's
could
more-
be a twist.
Remember, they did mention that the current Chimera were digging out the towers, meaning they were existing beforehand, you
It's
know.
true. Come on, just reveal your face so we can shoot it already.
I'm waiting. It also doesn't help that every single time it's the same animation. It's like, I get it, but...
I get the
come
feeling
on.
they were very, very proud of this sequence and wanted to emphasize it.
The camera lost focus there for a second.
It's supposedly a psychedelic attack.
So how do you fight against that gameplay-wise?
That's the psychedelic
You just have to wait until it passes.
Oh,
Yep,
so
that's
it's
the
legit
that's-
just that.
that's
He
the
just... He puts an attack on you and that holds you in place for a bit. How terrifying.
Yes, Blibs.
That's the psychedelic effect. Put Vaseline on the cat.
And screwing and rotating it a bit, yes.
Scandalous.
There you go. Last checkpoint station, and then we're good to go with the fight. Ow, 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 ow. Sure, buddy, sure.
Because you look like you're doing so well with that power. You can't even hold back one man.
I got a lot of particularly the very awkward, grab animation complete with the irritated scream. Like,
And then he just stays there in the sky. Like, he could try and grab us, but he just goes, you know what? Nah, I've done my bit for today. And moves on to the next section. Which really does make you wonder. Angels are supposed to be the smart ones, right?
yeah, the commanding units.
I mean, I get it. It looks cool cinematically, but I'm legit wondering, why doesn't he just properly fight us? Like, it's not even a gameplay story segregation.
No, I mean, now he's technically about to because we're covering the arena, so at least there is that.
I suppose fighting us there was part of his plan.
Sure. Because shooters around this time loved the idea of the bosses being, attached to recharging stations that you had to periodically, shoot to damage them. You had to do something similar to that. There's the bomb too. Basically, that was trying to attack constantly. What you're supposed to do is to distract him and then shoot at the light which the bolt of lighting is actually aiming at. Yes, I was just trying to distract him, game. No, not that one. There you go. Do it a few more times and you're good to go.
It's such an ultimate life form. You constantly need a source of energy.
I guess it's
This is the prototype. It's that bio lizard from SA2.
Okay.
There you go. Alright, I think one more should do the trick. There you go.
Don't touch it, you fool.
Well, god damn it.
What did I just tell you?
What did he do? Transfer his life essence into him?
Something like that. Now, for this very final sequence, you don't have any more guns, and the bomb is active because, of course, it is. And instead, you have for your weapons essentially repulsive wave, essentially a gift given by absorbing daedalus.
Huh, it's weird. Based off of that look on his face, I thought he was turning evil, but I guess he's still in control.
And I know what you're thinking. Wow, that is cool. Basically, this is the last sequence that allows you to do power play and showcasing how cool you are, like with the, for example, the rainbow beam at the end of Super Metroid, right? Yes, but you're still fragile. The enemy will still kick your ass repentantly. So you're gonna see a couple more jump cuts.
Welcome to our Bioshock playthrough, I guess.
Like, even during the power trip sequence, the game cannot resist and still makes it a pain in the ass to move through.
That is a shame, yes. But yeah, no, this would not be out of place in a Bioshock sequence.
Which, to be fair, had been released recently, if I recall correctly.
I believe the first
That
one
is the
came out
first
in
one.
2007. Let me check.
So 1 year before this.
Yep, 2007.
And yeah, it's basically a one-hit kill for the Kamiya, but you need to be in range, and it's not as long as you would hope it'd be. Or close at the very least. Oh, for fuck's sake.
It's falling apart.
Basically. You would think it will also boost your regeneration rate, but no, it's basically just as the same. Can I move? Oh, okay, good.
Ow.
At least it's on one hit kill also on the big enemies.
Sounds like he's going woof.
Like I said, this franchise takes inspiration from a lot of classic 50s and 60s sci-fi media, so the cheesiness of the sound effects is probably intentional. Alright, we're close.
30 seconds. Hell, we gotta go.
I'm getting there. Alright, for the purpose of giving you a first reaction, I'm not gonna say anything. Don't say anything until I clue you in, because you need to see this to believe.
Hold on, it's not responding. Hell, hold up.
Just once. I wish you'd try landing one of these things. Hale? What happened? What the hell is that? Can you hear them? They are calling to us. It's beautiful. Stay back. This is just the beginning. Forgive me, sir. It was an honor.
Not even kidding you. Cut to credits.
Well,
You
Needless to
know,
say, not many people were particularly pleased with this.
I mean, if Hale at least went out with a heroic sacrifice, I'd be fine with that, but...
Not just that, Jova, I can tell you from a personal experience, the game has teased, tintillating around the line that yes, everybody says that Hale is not going to make it, but there's the underline that he might, and when absorbing Daedalus, he gives the idea that instead absorb the power, and as a result, he will become instead something more, something that not even Manico predicted. But no, at the last second, he still turns, and Capelli mercilessly shoots him in the face, and again, cut to credits. No explanation, no epilogue, nothing. If a third title was not made, that this would be the end.
Hell, like, what even was it? And did we win? Or did the aliens win?
Yeah,
What?
like
what?
I said, no explanation. Like I said, not many people were pleased about this, and for a very good reason. Like I said, I like TJ Fixman as a writer, but talk about dropping the ball. Jesus Christ.
It's weird because this game just, like, it's improving on something story-wise, but that ending, like, okay, for all the problems the
Dave, so did
first
you
game,
snuck in the production and decide to just write that ending?
Yeah. Basically, what happened was Nathan Hill's just really, really boring. So I wrote that. bit in.
Jesus, though, Twibs, that was gruesome.
Not even enough by the cutscene framing Capelli using his gun like in showcase like in almost in a cool way, like the camera angle when he pulls it up.
Those are done to death. I decided to stick with the whole war is hell thing and just have him turn evil.
Like, I don't know.
Nice.
Like, also
Any-
sucks if you were a fan of the character. Sorry.
Yeah, if you gave a shit about Nathan Hale, sucks to be you.
Like, this is
Yes,
like if in
all
Prince of Persia, the prince gave in to his evil desires and then Farah has to kill him or something.
Anyway, no post-credit scene, so rightfully Nathan Hale will not be invited to the PlayStation Stars Battle Royale initiative.
Because he's dead. Well, I mean, aside from the weird ending, the story is slightly better than the last one. Nathan Hale's still kind of a boring plank of wood, though. But again, what do you expect from a studio that's mainly been known for making more light-hearted fare, but then tries to go in a more darker direction, but since they're not used to it, they end up making a lot of mistakes. That happens when a studio tries to do that. Bleak looking world, boring characters who just go fuck.
Well, I guess it's still less swearing than, God, what was that game we played?
Rogue Warrior.
Mark
Rogue
Cerny
Warrior.
was a design consultant.
Yeah, he has been for most of Insomnia games, and these were not exceptions.
And generic music. Like, seriously, I mean, this music, to be honest, if you'd have told me that David Bergeron came back for this one, I would have believed you. This music sounds barely any different from the last one.
You forgot, Pedro. Troy Baker voiced Blake. You're the guy that has died off screen in this part.
Yeah. I forgot about that.
Also, Lex Lang was in this. I forgot too. You're done, Libs?
Yeah, a bit better, but not much.
All right, Pedro.
It's better, like Dave said, but it's still not great. Again, like I said with the first game, it's a perfectly serviceable FPS, but you can tell that this was made for multiplayer first. And yeah, that ending is sure something. Like, okay, even taking aside the fact, like, whether or not you like Hale as a character, like the overall ending feels way too abrupt and feels way too it feels like they just did it for the sake of shock value. Like, oh, look how ballsy we are! We just randomly killed the protagonists.
I'm not gonna make comparison with The Last of Us Part 2 because it's different circumstances, but I have to admit I did thought a bit about that.
Thought about what? Sorry,
Last of Us Part 2.
Oh, right. So here's the thing. Here's the thing. With Last of Us Part 2, despite being terribly executed, at least there was a reason why Joel was killed in that
They
game.
tried to explain it at least, yeah.
Whereas, not just that, like, not just that, like, there was a thematic reason for it in terms of the story of what they're going for. Obviously, the execution is all kinds of shit, but that's beside the point.
Yeah.
In here, it feels like they just did it just cause. That doesn't feel like there's any actual good reason for this. This doesn't really have any kind of potent message. There's not really anything in particular that is being said to us with this. It feels like the developers didn't know how to end the game. Someone had the idea, hey, guys, wouldn't it be so cool and ballsy and truly, leave the players blown away if we just randomly kill Hale and then suddenly cut the credits? And Ted Price, I guess, he thought, you know what? Perfect, genius. Let's go with that. And it's just like, ugh. It's it feels a bit like it really is weird looking at these games because it is. This ending really kind of drives that home that maybe Insomniac's heart was not entirely into these games. when they were making them, because yeah, this is not the kind of ending from that you get from a developer who genuinely wants to make something awesome that leaves you with a good impression after the credits roll.
I
That
dare,
ending just felt. Ugh.
I dare say that ending felt mean-spirited.
Yeah.
No, it did. No, this. I'm starting to think that Joe might be right. That Insomniac claims that they genuinely cared about making this, but maybe it's just more of a PR statement than anything, because this doesn't feel like something that was made with care. This ending specifically, not the game as a whole. This ending feels like it was just made just because, like, like I don't
The
even
closest I can think of is that some of the Call of Duty Modern Warfare games that were around the time did had some shock value situations like this, but I don't think to this extent.
And even if they did, well, like, assuming that they also had endings like these on the same even on the same extent, like, well, it's bad in those too, because this just doesn't feel like this. I mean, I guess maybe they thought, oh, nobody likes Halo because it's boring, so let's just kill him and change protagonists in the third game or something. The game as a whole seems like it's fine, but yeah, what a horrible last impression to go on.
Oof.
Seriously, that.
I wouldn't be surprised if fans were ticked off by that story in the end.
Yeah, like I said, they were, but even beyond the story, just also for the gameplay as a whole. But I'll explain more when it comes to me, Pedro.
No, the graphics still look, again, I guess fine. Like I feel like it's just like you could still have a bit more color in this, because there's not much in terms of the horror element that really justifies this particular commitment to the gritty aesthetic. And yeah, and the music's whatever. It just feels like this TJ Fixman is trying to do something better with this, but I feel like there's not really he doesn't have much to work with this, I guess. And yeah, I have no idea. Once again, I have no idea who the hell made that stupid ending decision. Was it TJ Fixman? Was it Ted Price? Who exactly is responsible for that?
Yeah.
Because, yeah, that's just something that's just like, what?
Like, and the thing is, with a lot of mean-spirited endings, I at least get that semblance across the whole story that it may be building up to that, because, at least with that idea, the whole story as a whole is mean-spirited, but this just blindsides you out of nowhere, because the story had issues, but nothing like that. Like, imagine if, you played something relatively fine, like, say, a Crash Bandicoot game, but legit, right at the end, suddenly Crash Bandicoot gets killed and you have to play as, I don't know, Coco or Crunch from now on in this series. It's just so out of nowhere, because...
Not even the Jack and Daxter games, when becoming excessively edgy, did something like this.
Yeah.
It feels like they really wanted some kind of shock value to fool you into believing that this is ballsy and avant-garde.
Which does beg the question, if they were going to try and appease fans who were ticked off by that ending, unless they do an ass pull like, oh, it's just a dream, or they clone Halo or something, they have their work cut out for them in trying to make things better in the third game. If they
You'll see what happens by the third game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the game as a whole seems like it's fine, but man, what a horrible way to end what a horrible note to end the game on. Jeez.
Yeah.
Jova.
Go on, Jova.
I mean, the thing is, the game overall seems to be fine, but that ending, it's legit the last thing left on your mind, and it does not paint a pretty picture, but let me start from the beginning. Okay. Oh, that's just a song they were doing for a moment. I thought they were going to have another radio input, but...
No. For the record, Jova, while it's not here right now, at one point the credits are so long that they stop having music, so I had to insert something in, specifically one of the Resistance remakes the tracks that happened in PlayStation Stars Battle Royale. But you'll be able to hear it. Go on, Jova.
Yeah, okay, now let's start off with the positives. They did try to improve Hale as a character that I actually feel I can engage with instead of just a silent but not interesting brute. They also, I feel, did better with the locations in this game, seeing as how there's a lot more diversification, and yeah, if you're familiar with the United States, you can recognize some of these places pretty down pat for how they rendered them. Good stuff. Now, that being said, unfortunately, gameplay-wise, the trademark difficulty is still there, and again, it's not even the kind of difficulty that seems all that much fun. It's more about of, hey, duck in and out unless there's some super secret special method to somehow do a no-hit run on this thing. And like Tio said, even when you're supposedly at, like, you know, the part where you should be having a power rush, you're still fragile. Like, it never feels like you get to ever truly excel in this game. And mind you, maybe somebody has worked out the routes on how to, but it doesn't feel like a game that's as user-friendly as it could be, mind you. Now, it does do some things to try and improve on the gameplay. It does feel like it goes a bit on a 2 steps forward, 1 step back mentality, though, in that regard. Especially since, in some regards, it unfortunately is a downgrade from the previous one, because we're down to having only 2 weapons, since that was the style at the time. Fun. And when a game can work around this well, kudos to it. Resistance, I feel, did not need to do that. It really did not need to. Now, I do like the haunting atmosphere. Stuff like the despondent radio host is great showing for just how terrible this invasion has gotten. Us seeing more in details how humans get turned into Chimera, as well as having our main antagonist be one of the good guys, well, one of the military men turned into a powerful Chimera. And yet, why does it feel like the story as a whole doesn't do much with it? I mean, yeah, Daedalus is dead, and by the time Hale starts to turn, and mind you, Hale is incredibly powerful, so arguably you'd think he at least tries to fight Capelli, and maybe they have it that you'll have to now play as Capelli to fight Hale. Nope. Capelli just is able to shoot Hale, despite how powerful Hale is. Like, what was that just? Cutscene power to the max? Well, no, not even that, because Hale, again, just talks about how they're here, doesn't use any of his powers to stop Capelli, and he's dead. He can't even be awesome as a villain. It's sad.
Keep that phrase in mind, because the third game is gonna try to actually answer that, Drova.
Let me guess. It turns out Hale was fighting it, so he wanted Capelli to take him out, and that was his heroic sacrifice. But, yeah, yeah, no, might as well talk about the squad next. It's an interesting idea, trying to give Hale a squad he can bounce off of. Shame almost none of them, save for Capelli and, I'll be generous, Warner, seem to matter. Since Hawthorne, barely know the guy, Blake dies off-screen in such a terrible fashion. I feel like at the very least, he deserved to die on-screen, given the role he played. Like, and I get it, maybe it's to show the horrors of war about how 1 minute your friend can be alive and the next he's not. Does not feel that well executed. It feels like the plot is rushed at the end. And speaking of rushed, yeah, the fight against Daedalus is not as climactic as I was hoping it to be. I get it. Gameplay-wise, he has to be fair to fight, but a lot of his fight consisted in just ripping open a module that if he left us in, he would probably win the plot anyway, so yeah, not exactly the sharpest tool in the shed. And once again, it comes back to that ending. Again, the reason it blindsides me is because I was never led to believe that the story would do something so mean-spirited, because for all its issues, the story seemed fine up to that point. Again, I would have been fine with Hale dying if it's like a heroic sacrifice. Heck, even if he eventually loses control and we have to fight him as a boss fight, at least maybe add in something like him having to fight back against the control. But nope, he just succumbs. And again, I don't even know what that was breaking up in the distance. Like, was that supposed to be Earth? Was that supposed to be another planet? A meteor? I don't know.
The sequel will technically address that, but for the purpose of this, yes, it's not explained that it just abruptly ends.
Like, for all I know, the humans could have won and Hale was just mistaken. It's that unclear an ending. And again, the only thing you could do worse than leave your audience confused, leave them pissed, because again, Hale was just done dirty. Like, holy cow, even if I don't care for the man, that was like one of the filthiest deaths I have ever seen done to a protagonist. Like, Jesus Christ, you might as well have just thrown him in the trash while you're at it. And the game ends abruptly on that even. Like, you're not even given a chance to register or see how things might be going. It's just, boom, headshot, that's it. Goodbye, thanks for your money. And I get it, even if people were focused more on the multiplayer, it sounds like they pissed off enough people who were paying attention to the single player stuff, so was it apparent that they were trying to fix things with the third game?
Yes, Ted Price, while not mentioning the making of, in other interviews, Ted Price did mention that he took the criticism to both gameplay and story of this game in great consideration in shaping up 3, which also has the unintentional effect of basically telling, without telling it directly, that if the fandom did not complain, the next game could have been basically on the same level of this, if not worse.
Yeah, that's just one problem I get when people say, oh, well, you shouldn't complain, it's not productive. Well, yeah, the problem is sometimes yelling is the only way we get companies to listen to us, lest they just brush us aside, sadly. Unfortunately, sometimes fans really do have to make us stink, because these guys are the producers. They tend to hold the power that we have to counteract with our wallets, essentially, or our voices. But yeah, no, I want to say the game is fine, but that ending, holy cow, that ending takes it down from fine to, I'm gonna have to say, an overall mediocre experience going off of the single player content. Again, even if the multiplayer is amazing, the multiplayer is not particularly playable these days, so this is what I have to judge off of, and I get it, it's part of a trilogy, but I'm pretty sure they didn't know it was going to be a trilogy back then, so imagine if this was where the series ended. Holy Christ. Like, it's not bad, and I'm not mad, but I am disappointed.
Alright, I'll conclude. Where to even start, technically? Like I said, this is still technically my favorite of story-wise, but the ending basically really leaves this kind of sour taste. And again, it's not just the fact of killing off Hale, the fact that it's so abrupt. Like, it's almost telling me, fuck you, we got your money, in a way. I get the idea of a lot of people who play the multiplayer did not care for a single player campaign. There's basically a division in terms of fan bases about that. But still, like, who was this ending even made for? Like you said, maybe because Call of Duty was doing it at the time? I don't know. I know that TJ Fixman is capable of better writing than this. I know that Ted Price is capable of better judgment than this. So what the hell happened? And again, the thing that I did mention that that has been the albatross on the neck of his game. The fact that the supplementary material in this case is both very crucial, in order to expand the characterization of the characters involved in the game, and at the same time, very insipid to look at, because it's told poorly. Like, it really felt that it should have been a game on its own, those 2 years in which Hale and his teammate essentially meet, get to know better each other and had to say the word from the American, the US president gone cuckoo. It really feels a better setup for a spin-off games. Why was it not made? I don't understand. like I said, the supplementary material Gears was much more enjoyable to read at least. So why not even presenting it in a way that was actually, enjoyable to look at and read at.
I just don't know.
And that's not even talking about the gameplay. I like the new enemy variety. It's a bit of a shame that some enemies from the UK did not return, but I understand. The weapon design technically took a bit of a toll, despite the fact that the auger is actually better. But like I said, taking a page from Halo and Call of Duty, limiting you to only 2 weapons at a time plus the grenades is just a death sentence. I'm sorry. And the regenerating L2, no, that's really not it. I'm sorry. It really just, sours the experience. So at the end of the day, you get a game where, as a plot that is definitely interesting, to follow through, but then it basically cuts off abruptly and tells you that if you cared, you're kind of a moron, and complete with a gameplay that's really more frustrating than anything. Even in the power trip sequence, like, I'm not a monster. If the game actually wants you to have the final, final power trip sequence, we one shot the enemies. Yes, you definitely should have, even if it's scripted, for being a reward for having beaten the final boss. With a proper pacing, that makes sense. That's a good moment to have, a moment where there is no challenge. But in this case, instead, they crank it up still too much on the matter. No. And like I said, all in service of an ending where Hale gets killed anyway. He could have died on the ship, for all we knew. Like,
Is it sad that might have actually been more respectful than the death they gave him?
especially like I said, because like again, at least for me, because I noticed the way they frame Capelli pulling out the gun, they try to make it look so cool. The way it actually points at it at Haley is like, guys, this is not the time to actually have a pose for that. What are you doing? No, it's a mess. That's what this franchise technically is. It's actually a mess. I could still see, a bit of salvaging by making spin-offs center around those missing bits, which actually help elaborate on the squad mates, which technically I did not have too much of a problem. Maybe Awford was the most forgettable of a bunch. But I like Warner. I like technically Blake, with their interchange and, Capelli and his hot-headedness. Even Dr. Malikoff, which, fun fact, keep this in mind for the next game. The last Intel Collect, which, yes, we're not going to read them at this point, that you get, is a letter of Dr. Malikoff that implies that he wants to commit suicide. We'll see how that played out in the next game on the matter. And on that note, get ready because the next game also has yet another time skip because there's another novel that fills in the gaps between this game and the next.
Wow.
Yes, they didn't learn jack shit on the matter, at least. Thankfully, it's the last piece of supplementary material as far as I know. But basically, what it tells is that after killing Hale, Capelli basically was dishonorably discharged. Hale's body will be recovered, and from his blood will be synthesized a vaccine that actually helps immunize everyone in the United States against being converted by the Chimera, and the following years are spent in isolation in order to resist from the invasion.
I guess Hale gets something heroic to his legacy then?
These events will be recapped very briefly at the very beginning of Resistance 3, technically, so at the very least the game tells them. But yes, you need to read another fucking novel to see what happens afterward.
Also, Capelli getting discharged, I mean, Hale was controlled. Why would they discharge him for killing him at that point?
That's one of the things that will be elaborated, and I will elaborate myself when we get eventually to the game that was done 3 years after this. Resistance 3, said with a time skip, and starring Nathan Hale's killer, Joseph Capelli. See you for that.
See ya.
Oh my god, it literally is the Last of Us Part